What's up, YouTube family? This is Chris over at Beaver Customs. I wanted to answer a question I've had, just so much in the past few months as we've been growing, getting a little bit of recognition and support from guys. It is, what is a Beaver Customs controller? What kind of options can I get on there? And want to just make a quick video to explain that, show it off. So here's what we have. This is one of our team isolation controllers. If you check them out on Twitter, it's at Isolation Empire. Great guys, check them out. They're also involved with the Esports Council. But here's an idea of what we can do for you on a controller. We have what we call parts kits. Traditionally, a parts kit will have all your face buttons and all this up here. It'll be one color. Isolation's a little different where they alternate between purple and blue and mix two sets when they have their team controllers. So this is an idea of what it looks like. We do custom home buttons. Any logo you want, we can put those in there. If there's a copyright or anything, we're going to ask that you take care of that on your end as you're just giving it to us. We do dome thumbsticks. We are the only person right now that I'm aware of selling these as a parts kit. You can actually buy a do-it-yourself set of dome thumbsticks. The big advantage to our sticks over any other brand out there right now is going to be this inside diameter of the part that contacts the shell. It is actually, I'd say 1/2 to 3/4 of a millimeter thinner than your stock, so it opens up your movement a little bit more. Just naturally fits the contour of your finger a lot better. You'll have a lot more control. Another big thing we do are increased thumbstick tension. When we talk about tension, it is the amount of resistance it takes to move from the center to get your stick to move. On the Xbox 360, this movement was somewhere around 105 grams or so. Well, Microsoft did, and they made the Xbox One controller. They dropped that down to a really loose 65 grams. It doesn't take anything to move this over. I'll go over this a lot more in my thumbstick installation video and break out the scale and show you the different things there. But it was real loose, and this loosens up over time. You can't make any short adjustment shots because you're going to move just a little bit to the left or the right while you're aiming. You're going to overshoot people. You have to turn your sensitivity way down to compensate. Turn your sensitivity down, and all of a sudden you don't have as much control doing full 360. I think you lose a little bit of ability there. So we're the only person out there that offers a modification to increase the actual mechanical tension. Both of these have tension on them. It's on the inside of the controller. You can do that as a mail-in, or you can do it on your new controller. So, that's there. One disclaimer to that, your click takes a little bit more force as well. We have tuned that to where it's still real easy. Before we always just tuned it where up was easy, and now that Advanced Warfare has come around, all of a sudden your boosting left to right is a little bit more important. Popping down, easily doable, guys. So that's there. So tension, dome thumbsticks, colored parts. We do face plates. We buy these. They are dyed plastic, so you could take this thing, break it in half. It's going to be the same color all the way through, with the exception of a few of our colors. We still do some custom painting or contract it out. Usually recommend doing a face plate and your side caps. If you hear me refer to side caps, it's this portion right here, and then your back. So it gives it a pretty nice look as far as how that wraps around the controller. Really nice. The reason we leave the stock back here, something we're still working out. It seems like a lot of our repop rears, there's a few minor sizing issues in here. We've addressed a lot of them, but every now and then we'll get a Microsoft stereo adapter that when we go to plug it in, for some reason it doesn't want to just grab in right. This thing I'm not a huge fan of. We actually started making these before Microsoft came out with theirs, but we can convert your standard to a 2.5 millimeter female port, just like your 360 controller would have. Fits in a lot better. I mean, even with the stock rear, just sits in a lot easier. There's some issues, I think, with the design in here, but none of my business. This works great. If you have an older headset, do know that some of these newer headsets, they may start transferring over to using the Microsoft adapter, just the way it goes. But if you have an A40 that worked just fine on 360, you can get that adapter from us. We sell it as a kit, or we can make one for you, or we do mail-in on it. And it'll work just like it did on 360. So we have that. We get into the performance side. So have these. We also tune your bumpers. Make sure you get that nice pronounced click. We even see sometimes brand new controllers out of the box, they won't be just right. There's some burrs in there that they don't take out during molding. We make sure to tune all those up. This one has rear buttons on it. That's our forte right now. Big difference between us and everybody else that's starting to put buttons on a controller. We use a button cap, so it covers the hole, gives a nice clean look. You don't have any edges in there that are going to collect dirt and dust and that nastiness. The back of our button on the inside is very small, so we can custom place these buttons anywhere. These bottom two are a traditional placement. If you take a look, you have your lock portion here for your mic adapter, and then here's the bottom. So you can just kind of take a guide across that and get an idea of where the buttons lay when you're holding a controller, and then their top buttons sit pretty much between those two. I've taken these, I've put buttons as far as out here, put them down here. I get guys that want to run 4 buttons, but they don't want to use just their middle fingers. They'll take and they'll put this bottom button way down here. So you can use your ring fingers on them. Put them out there. If you have any issues with your buttons, you can contact us directly. It'll be built into our new website with some custom placement. But you can take your controller, take a little piece of a sticker, put it on there, send us a picture, get a good flat picture where we can do some sizing and figure out where they are, and we can build it to fit your hands. And that's what I think's unique. The fact that we will build this to fit you. Not everybody can reach a button that's centered here. That's a pretty long reach. And if you go the second button that may be sitting in this area, it's not possible for most people. I run into a lot of female players that are starting to come into the scene. They have smaller hands. Their placement needs to be a little bit higher, or we can even come out a little bit more because they're not gripping as big. They don't have gorilla hands, which is okay. So those are the buttons we have on the back. Really nice tactile feedback. You'll know when you're engaging that. These button caps on the back do come in different colors. Here's actually some black ones we use normally, but we have these in a few different colors. Those options will be on the side as well. You can do as many buttons as you want. We're gonna pre-configure our site to have 2 to 4, 1 to 4 buttons. I have guys quoting and getting built right now 6 button combinations. I mean, they're at a typewriter at that point, but you can run buttons wherever you want them. We're all about doing the custom stuff. So we have our buttons on the back. This controller actually has one of our new Remap chips in it. So you can take these rear buttons, and traditionally guys will run their left hand as their A, their right hand is B, X, and then Y. That's how it's been for the longest time. Well, now we're getting into games like Advanced Warfare, for instance, where we're doing a lot of boosting. There's a lot more movement. A is nice because you're doing your double jump. What I personally do is I make my top left button my L3 click. So all I have to do is put the stick over here, and I can just hit that button to boost. And I can do that, I think, faster than I can click. I'm not pushing on the controller. Just real simple. But not every game's the same. Next I go to play Halo, I'll probably take L3 click out, change it. In Halo, when I'm playing, I make my right stick click my top button over here so I can zoom in with my zoomed weapons. So opens up a lot of possibilities. Our new remap chip, we'll cover this in another video of how to actually do the remap, but our remap chips will let you program your left stick, your right click, your guide button, your ABXY, your 4 directional buttons, your bumpers, and your triggers. I don't really see a need to do the triggers, but they're in there. So that's an option. Another thing to cover on here are our trigger modifications, kind of leaving the best for last. We do right now our signature trigger modification are our smart triggers. So very minimal pull, and you can hear that feedback in there, that click. We're basically turning your trigger into a button. So instead of having this ramp up when you go to pull a trigger, we're going from 0 all the way to 100%, back down to 0, back up to 100%. You have a lot of guys will just put a trigger stop in there, stops at about 50%. Well, a lot of guns and Destiny have different trigger engagement points. So we started to see issues with a traditional trigger stop, stopping at halfway. You're going to fire your gun and it's not pulling quite far enough to hit some of those weapons. So we took that completely out of the equation. This goes 0 to 100% to 0. You can do anything with this. You can scroll through your menus. I mean, it opens up the controller and they're faster. You can click this a lot faster than you could ever pull a traditional trigger. So we're going to see a lot more of this. We also still offer an adjustable trigger stop. I don't have one sitting in front of me right now, I apologize. But there's a screw located right here that goes in and hits a stopping point on the inside, and you can adjust your trigger stop point. So not like a Scuff branded trigger stop, they adjust your preload. So a Scuff stop starts your trigger here, for example, and then you move down. Our adjustable trigger stop, you can adjust how far down it goes. So you can lock it up to about 40% travel or bring it all the way out to 100%. And anywhere in between, you can set that depending on your gun. And that's a really nice option. Has the same feel as a stock one does as far as softness. There's no loud clinking and clanking. And I think that's very important. So that covers majority of what we do. We also make custom cables. This is one right here. These are a flat cable. They have a rubber coating. They're not like the cheap plastic flat cables. And the wire on the inside are thicker than even the Microsoft wire. So if you understand wires at all, they go in gauges. The smaller the number, the bigger the wire. Give you an instance, this is 30 gauge wrapping wire, really tiny. Traditionally on the inside of these, we see 28 to 26 gauge wire. I actually have this cable spec'd with a 24 gauge braided wire, with the tips being gold plated. You have a nice aluminum end here, and they lock into the controller. I mean, just extremely solid, because, well, I've seen a lot of these people play. They like to start shaking their controller when they lose or when they celebrate, and we don't need you disconnecting. So that does great there. If you have any questions about what we do, or you have a unique idea, I've had guys come to me and ask for buttons placed on the face for different reasons, and we've done it. We're open to ideas. They'll be on a case-by-case basis. We won't see them for everybody. So contact us, leave messages below. If you have any ideas, let us know. We also offer Squid Grip on our controllers as a pre-installed deal. We are a Squid Grip reseller, so great stuff there. Leave any comments below. Follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @BattleBeaverC. Visit us at battlebeavercustoms.com on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, guys, this is Chris of Battle Beaver Customs. Have a great day.